Okay.
Hey everyone, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast. I am your host and caregiver. I am your host, Melissa Miller, and caregiver and business coach and creator of Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined. And I am so excited about this week's episode because I have the wonderful Danae Robinett with me. She is wonderful, and we have really just had a great conversation prior to this episode. Of our bonding over just dealing with the hard role of caregiving and seeing our loved ones just deteriorate in health and how that is tough on us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, but also how with being a caregiver and having your own health struggles, how getting the right kind of exercise so you're not exacerbating maybe prior health issues. Or I know, like for me, with having hypothyroidism, I can't do hard cardio. Low
Mm.
impact exercise is very important so I don't put my body into overdrive. And so I really wanted Danae to come on and share with you about her story and how yoga has become such a big part of her journey of healing and wellness, and just how she's wanting to help people who are going through hard situations, be it caregiving or maybe some sort of other trauma or health related issue or personal or professional issue, just really take care of themselves because we do have this one life and we can't really thrive if we don't take care of ourselves. So, Danae, thank you for agreeing to be on the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast.
Hi, Melissa. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, you and I have already gotten a chance to get to know each other a little bit, but Danae, my listeners are probably not acquainted with you. So can we have take a few minutes for you to just share a little bit about who you are and what, and well, then we'll dive in for more from there.
Of course. So, hi, everyone. My name's Danae. It sounds like Renee, and I'm based in the San Francisco Bay Area. I am a yoga teacher of 19 years, a retreat leader for 12, and also a caregiver to my father, who is now facing a third primary, that's important, cancer. And it's my gift to give to him and also to me to be there for him at this time. As you know, caregiving is hard, it's exhausting, and it's also an initiation into the world of death and dying. And whether the person comes out on the other side, recovers, gets stabilized, or also perhaps the opposite, right? Does pass. It's not even the passing, it's the death and dying of who they once were, right? For the person you're caring for, like my dad, for instance, right? Watching his capacities shift and downgrade and diminish over time. And also the caregiver, right? And it's something we don't talk about in our culture, death and dying. I think we shy away from it. We get scared about it. And sure, baby Danae does not want her dad to die, but adult Danae knows it's going to happen. And so that's where the yoga comes in. I think the yoga helps me manage reactivity and my responses, helps me find a little more peace when I just return to my breath. The breath is so essential. You know, you mentioned something about not having that hard cardio, right? That's not for everyone, absolutely. But just taking a moment to connect with your breath, that's available to everyone. Seated, standing, lying down, it's available to everyone. So yoga is a gateway for so many people.
And I like that because when you think about, and that it doesn't take a lot of time. That's another thing I was thinking about too, when we were getting ready to talk about this topic, is that as caregivers and business owners, we
Mm,
don't have a lot of time. And then like for me, I am also a wife, and I'm
yes.
also a caregiver to my husband, yes, but then I'm also still a mom. I have a 5-year-old daughter, so I am busy. And so, but it comes to, there's always that crunch for like, we don't have enough time, or I'm not going to be able to have time to do it. But you know what? I was listening on the radio this morning. It's so funny that we're talking about this topic today
Mm,
because she was talking about this challenge. I think one of her girlfriends had challenged her to, or was talking about just taking the month of May. There's 30 days, 31 days in May, and 15 minutes every day to focus on something that you want to accomplish. And I
mm,
got thinking about that. And you know what? 15 minutes, it may not seem like much, but sometimes 15 minutes to establish a healthier you or a habit pays off, because the big problem with anything that you're trying to accomplish, be it professional, self care related, or caregiving related, you got to kind of be consistent with it. And sometimes
Yes.
starting slow, especially when we're talking about self-care in terms of exercise. I know we all struggle with that. Who raise your hand, everybody, virtually, if you made resolutions to work out or do some sort of diet change or something back in January, and here we are at the start of May, and yeah, we haven't been consistent, right? So I think that's the other thing to think about, guys, here is that when you start something, it's okay to start slow, and it's probably better, especially when you are starting um, totally from the ground, from zero. I know for me, that's very much the case. Like I'm even just trying to do 15-minute walks. That's what I did this morning. I did a 15, 20-minute walk, yay for me. And I just put my earbuds in, listen to a Christian meditation. And that was good to just get outside too for change of scenery. But that's enough because again, I can't do hard cardio, but doing something for 15 minutes, it goes back to that principle, is a start. And like with yoga, like learning anything, there's a lot to learn about it. But like you said, I really love how you say with even just breath work, that could be beneficial with just getting yourself to center. Like when you do feel stress, like especially as a caregiver, if your loved one's having a day where their illness is just really at a loud roar, where they're having more symptoms than usual, there might be something new brewing, that that can make your stress and anxiety level go through the roof, right? And so I love the idea. I'm not very well acquainted with yoga, so I'm excited to learn more about how with breath work, even just calming yourself and kind of regrouping yourself so you can think clearly and go like, okay, things feel a little, I feel a little, my nervous system feels out of whack right now, but I need to be grounded because my loved one is having some problems and I need to be able to think clearly to decide about what the best course of action is. Is it to give them more medicine? Is it to call the doctor and ask for an opinion, or do I need to take them? Does this warrant a trip to the ER or urgent care? And that can be tough in the heat of the moment because you feel the pressure, the immediate stress and pressure. And so, Danae, how about if we take a scenario like that? Like, what are some ways of breath work, just to start? Because again, it all just starts by something. And so, naturally, not everyone's going to be wanting to go get a do like plan out this big long workout plan that they're going to do every day, or maybe even get a membership or buy equipment necessarily off Amazon. But your breath work, that's a good way to start. So just ways of just paying attention to of when you're feeling, oh, I'm really feeling triggered right now. I need to calm myself down because I know I'm not going to be able to do anything productive in assessing my loved ones' needs, my children, work on my business unless I'm grounded and I calm down. So could you take us through a couple like deep breaths, like what you could do that that doesn't even take 15 minutes? Maybe if we only have like 1 or 2 minutes, but we're just feeling heightened heightened stress, heightened anxiety, and we can tell our nervous system is out of whack. What can we do? What can we do?
Absolutely. And first, let me echo, yes, 15-minute walks, beautiful. I often say if you've got 3 minutes, you can do a little bit of yoga, right? Let's free ourselves of this limitation around a certain amount of time has to count for something. Actually, choosing to do the thing is what counts. And whatever the time frame is, whatever you've got, the 3 minutes one day, 15 the next, the consistency piece has value if you just continue to choose it. No matter the time frame, when you have more, go for it. When you have less, still go for it. So important. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Melissa. Yes, so breath work is available to us at any time. If we're sitting, just make a tall spine, lengthen up a little bit more in your chair, feel your shoulders stack over your hips. And simply notice what it feels like to breathe, right? That is the gift of life. And notice, is it easy, right? Is there effort? Is there congestion in your nose, right? Maybe you blow your nose first. And then I like to take the palms of my hands to my face and take a breath in and then a breath out and just discern, right? Is my left nostril more lit up, or is it my right, or is it both congestion? Is it hard to tell? Just notice what's true for you for today. And then I like this breath. It's called a clearing breath, known to me. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale, great big sigh. And really feel like it's okay to make the sound, the noise, if you will. And now for fun, let's take our shoulders up to our ears when we inhale. And now exhale, release the shoulders and the sigh. Ah. And 2 more times. And eyes open or closed, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Ah. And one more. And so as caregivers, as entrepreneurs, as mamas, sometimes it feels like we have the weight of the world on our shoulders. So incorporating that simple movement of just lifting the shoulders where we don't want them to be as earrings, right? And then releasing and creating space in the neck and across the back and taking that audible sigh. How does it feel, Melissa?
Well, it was interesting for me. I mean, the second version was amazing. It was amplified, but just during the first one of just sitting a little taller,
Mm.
taking that deep breath in, and then just having and just being okay with just letting that sigh out. That was really freeing in my back, actually.
Mm.
That was interesting. And I'm just instantly thinking too, like, again, going back to that timepiece, oh, I don't have enough time, there's not enough minutes in the day. Just doing that, I mean, we took like maybe 1 or 2 minutes to do that, and we did 4 breaths.
Mhm.
Hello. It just
Game
calms you
changer.
down. Game changer, right? And if you think about doing that, if you think about doing that consistently throughout the day, several times a day, like when you have those heightened triggering moments, what a
Mhm.
change that could be.
Mhm.
A building in that habit, right? Remember, habits, take what they say, like 7 to 14, 21 days to
Mhm. Mhm.
establish. So
Mhm.
think about doing that for the month of May, guys. Of just if you do nothing else after this interview, if you just take 1 to 2 minutes all the time when you're feeling heightened and stressed and you feel like your nervous system is out of whack, just taking the time to go, okay, I'm feeling really triggered right now. I'm going to sit in a chair. I'm going to close my eyes if I need to, or if you don't want to, you don't have to, and just
Mhm.
just breathing, just
Yes.
taking a minute to pause.
Yes.
Sometimes something I teach is just that, it's important to stop, pause, and assess. You know,
I like
you
that.
you can't you sometimes all you can't think clearly or make a good decision unless you know what's going on and you're really connected with that. So what are you needing in that moment? Maybe it is something more than breath work.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe you're at that heightened moment where you realize, okay, maybe I do need to call a loved one or call the nurse of hospice or home health and say, hey, there's something's going on. I feel very overwhelmed right now. What should I do? So maybe it's seeking the help and wisdom of somebody else to help you with XYZ. Maybe it's taking a time out, saying, like, if I know my husband's really good about this, if we have moments where, like, we're done for a moment because we're having a triggering moment with our daughter or something else happens, and we just know, like, if he goes off for a walk, I know he'll be back. He just needs to cool down. And same thing, sometimes I'll swap out, but like, hey honey, can you take Linda for a few minutes because I'm done. So it's all about consistency of just really taking those moments to just stop and just
Yes.
focus in. And I think that's the interesting thing about breath work is it gets you to stop, and it
Mm.
gets you to kind of realize, like, paying attention about, why am I feeling this way? And is it just the need for taking a deep breath that's going on? Or maybe a warning sign that, no, I need something else. I need something else. I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling anxious. My nervous system is like way out of whack because of something that's been ongoing and I'm not addressing it enough.
And I appreciate this example you gave with your husband about actually asking for your needs to be met, right? I'm going to
Yeah.
go take a walk. You're going to go take a walk. And then honoring that boundary with the caregiver. It's so important. I think so many times we feel like we have to give to our detriment. And then we might take it out on the one we are
Yep.
caring for. We might lash out on our partner if they're not the one that is receiving the care. So first check in with yourself. What are your needs? How can they be met and addressed? And the breath really helps with that, right? Because if
Mhm.
you're holding your breath or taking in a shorter, shallower breath, that's not serving anyone. And if you just pause and sit tall or stand tall, and sometimes people feel good placing the hand on the heart to feel the heartbeat if that resonates, and just be with the breath for a minute. I mean, we've all got a minute. Everybody does, to connect with breath. And it's so vital that we do.
Yeah. And if you don't want to do it, and if you need privacy, go into the bathroom, say, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yes,
And just do
absolutely.
that for like, and shut the door and do it for 1 to 2, do it a couple times, maybe 2 to 3 times to recenter, refocus, and then you can go back at whatever you need to, whether it's caring for your loved one, taking care of the kids, going back to trying to get through that load of laundry that you've been neglecting, whatever the case may be.
Right.
It's okay to take time for yourself, because like I
Mhm.
said before, it all starts with you. If you don't take care of you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, y'all, you're not going to be good to yourself. You're not going to be good to your kids. You're not going to be good to your partner or spouse. You're not going to be good to anyone who you're caring for, whether that, whoever that is, whether it's kids, aging parents, aging grandparents, your spouse, whatever the case may be. It all starts with you. And if you're a business owner like I am, you're no good to your clientele. And the
Boom.
ideas can't come through because you're so just tight, you're just so overwhelmed and wired, you can't think clearly, and the ideas and the content creativity cannot flow through. So it really is a house of cards. So it's so important that you focus on you. And the interesting thing about breath work is like where my brain's going with this is being a Christian, it definitely goes into like prayer. And so
Mhm.
your soul, so you're tapping into not what does your mind need, what does your physical body need, but maybe it is spiritually. Maybe you're just feeling scared. Maybe you haven't,
Mhm.
maybe you're not like Danae or myself, where we've come to a place where we have peace with knowing where we're headed with these journeys. I mean, my father passed away last July, and was it hard? Is it still hard? Like, am I still grieving with it being almost just a year since he passed away? Of course, we're still going to go through grief, even when we expect it and when we have peace about it. But it's important to just really be honest with that. Be realistic with the season you're in. If you're about to lose your loved one, now's the time I want you really focusing on your mind, your body, your soul, and also surrounding yourself with a good support network, because you're going to need it, because it's going to be a hard season. But also too, even if they're not on the point of going, but you're going into a harder season of caregiving where they do need, like Danae said with her father, where she's at that season like I was last July, where her father's having more loss of his abilities.
Mhm.
The caregiving needs are going to ramp up, so that puts again on you a really harder amount of impact, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, whether that's physically having to lift your loved one to get them on the toilet or in the wheelchair, or changing them in bed, or bathing them, or and then mentally and emotionally seeing your loved one who you have normally seen so strong and has been your rock and your support system, but now the roles are reversed because they're so sick and they cannot do anything for themselves. And then spiritually, of course, it's okay to have that question of, why, Lord, why? Why did this happen? It's okay to ask those questions. It doesn't make you a normal person. We're human beings in human bodies, and so we're going to still have those questions. So how can you tap into that to be able to move forward and navigate those seasons, and with support and not being isolated, and where you're not letting yourself fall to the back burner, and then you're in a lot of more trouble because you're tapping out and burning out.
I cannot stress enough echoing the support system. You are not a party of one, right? People want to help. They just need to know how to help you. So it's up to you to be very clear about what your needs are, right? Not just with the caregiver and the caregiving, but if you have a dog, your friend's going to be wanting to walk your dog. If you need a meal prepped, there's definitely a friend out there that can help you with that. People want to help, they just don't know how. So don't feel like you have to take it on all by yourself. I feel like that's something I did initially with my dad's first cancer diagnosis. I thought I could just do it all, and I was so wrong. you know um and it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It's a sign of strength, actually, to know that you do need backup, you do need assistance. And you know attend a support group. My father wasn't interested in doing that, but for his initial cancer, it was head and neck, and they have a head and neck patient and caregiver support group. So head and neck cancer is typically affected is by men. They are the more higher percentage to get a head and neck cancer diagnosis for whatever reason. So there are a lot of men in the group, and then not so many wives, and then me. But it doesn't matter. You come as you are, you listen, you contribute when you want to. And I found such value in going to those meetings. And they were on Zoom because it was during the time of COVID, right?
Right. Yeah,
So you don't even have to go
absolutely.
somewhere. You
Yeah.
just stay in your house.
Right. And I understand that. I know for some of you listening who are caring for loved ones who have no immune system right now because of their health condition, be it cancer or some other autoimmune disease, where going out and then exposing yourself to the public and then bringing that home, not a good idea. So please leverage Facebook groups,
Yes.
leverage virtual groups on Zoom, leverage a coach or a mentor like myself where I can work with you one-on-one or in my group program. So know there's resources out there. And again, focus on you. If your loved one, again, is if your loved one also is maybe needs stuff, but they're not open to doing something with you, maybe you find something that is focused on their caregivee, and then you do something separate for as the caregiver. Okay. And again, and I love what you said about being in a situation where you're in a caregiver support group, but there's not a lot of women in there, and you're kind of I went through a similar experience when I was going through my church's grief share support group, and it wasn't so much a mix of men and women, what there was, but it was the age demographic. I'm in my latter 30s. They were like old enough to be my parents. So I was the youngest person there. But again, like you say, it doesn't matter. We were all navigating that season of being post caregivers
Mm-hmm.
and grieving the loss of our loved ones. And that's all that mattered. We were navigating the same situation. So age demographic didn't mean anything now or matter. So, but again, it depends on you. If you don't mind being in a mixed situation where there's different ages, I found for myself it helped to have some men and women that were more advanced in years because their wisdom and
Mm.
further life experiences were very encouraging to me, and that might be the same for you. But then also know too, there's other people and other resources out there that might be better targeted for your age demographic. So if you want to go after something that's more after your age demographic, definitely. I mean, I know personally for me with my business, I definitely have felt better working with business coaches that are more my age and also that are women,
Mm-hmm.
and also and some of the ones I have are moms as well, because they understand the balances of being a caregiver, either as a parent or actually as being a caregiver to someone who's sick while going after my dreams in my business. And so, but that's me and that's what I need. So same thing applies as a caregiver. What do you need? Okay. Do you need to be in a specific group that actually targets the specific illness your loved one goes in? Or maybe it is that that's in that same age bracket of being 30 to 40, like myself. Or maybe you want to be in a mixed group where it's not necessarily focusing on the specific illness or age demographic, but just being a caregiver, and you just want to be around people, period, that understand what you're going through. Or maybe again, it's that you need a virtual option because you need to protect exposure for your loved one's well-being because their immune system is very fragile, or they basically don't have one because of their health, and you do not want to then again expose them and send them to the hospital. So just know that there's options, and it's okay to try something and have it not work out and then try something new.
Absolutely. So smart. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So, Danae, if people are feeling, we've talked about breath work. So maybe if someone is not open to even yoga or breath work, do you have some other recommendations for just low impact options to get them started on their health and wellness? Because we all need to start somewhere, and we want people to do at least, like you say, do something,
Yes.
try something, because it really all starts with them. If they don't take care of themselves, they're not going to be good to their loved ones or their clients or their kids.
Well, I love walks myself. And I also love dance. So I have a background in dance. And I would say put on your favorite song and move in the kitchen. No one's watching. Dance and move however you want, feel the rhythm, feel the beat. Grab your partner if you want and dance with them in the kitchen. That's really fun. My partner is very shy, but we do dance in the kitchen. Now, I'd love to do it in the grocery aisle too, but that's asking a little too much for him, and that's okay. um, that's one way, right? To have your favorite song be playing and just, whether it's like tapping your foot, if you're seated, maybe it's just a little sway from side to side. Maybe you're moving your fingers. Anything goes, really. Yeah. Anything goes. Yeah. I also like shaking. So like shaking your whole body, right? And if you're doing this while standing, feel like you're standing with your feet hip width distance apart and bend your knees a little bit. So no straight legs, just bend your knees so you can feel really steady on the floor. And then start shaking parts. And maybe tossing your head around. If you have long hair, you can shake your hair, but don't do it too much because you want to be mindful of a sore neck tomorrow.
Right.
And shake your fingers and maybe pick up one foot and shake your foot and put it back down. But think about it. Animals shake. We can always cue off the animals. They are smarter. We're an animal too, right? I guess, but they're smarter sometimes than we are. They shake when they're having a threat or a concern. They shake it off and then they're ready to go. They're ready for the next thing. Yeah. So I like to shake.
I like that. Those are good ideas. And again, simple things that you can just get started with, where you're not buying a membership, you're not going a membership to the gym or equipment or things. I mean, if you want to pursue those, that's fine. But if you're just wanting to start from scratch, that's a good way to start. A question that just dawned on me, because I've seen this with some yoga videos. I'm not very attuned, but I was thinking about how this could be beneficial, because like, our muscles get so tight because of stress, right? I mean, breath work is good to calm us down, but then because I know from experience professionally as a certified nursing assistant, I did get a back injury that put me out of work for over a month, and that was fun. So thinking about the tension and the stress that builds up in our necks, our shoulders, just our backs, our body in general, are there any like simple, kind of like how we did with the breath work, are there any like simple stretches that you recommend that kind of start? Because maybe sometimes it's not the breath work that we need, but maybe we're just feeling a little tense, and maybe taking, again, that 1 to 2 minutes to just do a simple stretch to kind of alleviate the stress and tension we're feeling in our body might help us be able to take that breath, that moment to pause, and then be able to get back into what we're doing.
Yes, definitely. So 3 places in the body come to mind, and it's thinking about making a circle basically. So with the shoulders, just lifting the shoulders up and circling back, and just do a couple of times more, up and circle back and up and circle back. And you can do it seated or standing. And then up and forward, up and feel the shoulders go forward of the chest, up and forward of the chest. One more. And then think about the hands, just circling at the wrists.
Oh, that's, yeah. I have to say, I know we're doing our hands, but when we were doing the back, I mean, I felt that when we rotated our shoulders back, I noticed I was feeling that more in my shoulder blades in a good way. Like it was relaxing them, like any tension I had, it was dissipated from doing that. So yeah, I think I think for me, the shoulders going back, since back is really my nemesis from everything I've been through, really helped me. So that's interesting. It's interesting how just moving your body a certain way just kind of keys you into oh, that helps, or oh, I didn't know I had that tension or that discomfort back there.
And then you would circle your ankles. So you'd be seated and you just circle your feet, or you could do it laying down. Another one to think about the back, since that's a critical space for you, is if you take arms wide and then you take your right arm on top and you bend the elbows. I call this the hug. So you're holding your shoulders. If you want to slow dance, you can sway. Right. And for some folks, they can hold the shoulders. For some, they hold the upper arms. For some, further still, they might even wrap even more and catch onto the shoulder blades. So go to the place where you feel the most sensation. That's sustainable, that you can keep that steady, spacious breath, right?
Yeah. Well, and I'm also thinking too about for people too who are just getting started with this, with range of motion, because maybe because of an injury,
Yes.
Like maybe for me it's the back, but I'm thinking like when you go to do this, you're incorporating your shoulder. So if you have not a really good wide range of ROM, range of motion with your shoulder, being able to just modify it, like maybe right now because you're so tight and because
Mm-hmm.
maybe just even doing the sides of your arms is where you
Mm-hmm.
start, but then eventually you work towards, as your range of motion improves, you can go
Yes.
further to like really give a good stretch, more where you do eventually hug, like say you, like you said, like the highest um level, we'll put it, is like
Mm-hmm.
where you actually hit your shoulder blades. So that's awesome. I like that, is that there's doing these different movements, there's different ways to modify it for where you're starting at, because again, we're all
Yes.
starting at a different level. So if it's a range of motion issue, we probably, maybe it's not wise to add more fuel to the fire of harm by starting at the most advanced level. Modify it and then work your way up. And same thing like with the cardio. Like maybe it's with the working out, maybe you can't do 15 minutes, maybe doing that is too much, but maybe 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
couple times a day, or breaking it up to where you just start slow that way and working your way up to 15 minutes.
Totally. And in yoga, we call that krama. So kramas are like the options, the possibilities, right? So
I
the
like
first
that.
one is holding the upper arm, shoulder, and also right side might do one thing and left side might do a different thing. And
Oh,
body is
I
rich
hadn't
in
thought about that.
asymmetry. Yeah. So it could be different on the second side. It's okay. Whenever it's different, we invite the self-compassion in.
That's interesting. I find I can reach, that's interesting. My left, I can go further back with
Mm,
when I do left over right than when I do right over left. I feel like it's more of a strain, like I have to kind of
mm-hmm,
stretch more in like my right arm to go
mm-hmm.
that way. So that's interesting. Yeah. So that's interesting to think about too, your range of motion, not just as a whole, like how far you can, doing the motion, but doing it, but depending on which way you have your arms crossed over you, is there a better level of comfort? That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Right to
So
left side. Yeah. And sometimes it's related to your dominant side. So if you're right-handed, your right
that's
side.
probably it. Yeah, because
Mm,
I am right-handed, so that makes sense. Like I'm right-handed, I can't go as far, but
mm-hmm.
left though, I can go further. That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm learning something new right alongside you. So, but that's what
Excellent.
this is. I really want, um, when I have people on the podcast, it's really with the intention of offering resources for your mind, for your body, to help you with your business, to help you as a caregiver, as a parent, to live your best life and have the tools and the resources you need, whether it is actual coaching or tools and just a whole, gamut of resources to where you can get it for free without having to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars from someone who's just going to say, do XYZ, and then you feel like you get nothing out of it. And
Hmm.
this also helps put people like Danae, guys, within your reach. Like I didn't know about Danae until she reached out. I was like, oh, hey, I'm interested. So, it's really important to know that um, it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to try
Yes.
different things, and it's okay, and it's important to research and see what's out there. There's a lot of different resources, and everyone's different. If there's anything I've learned from doing this podcast, we're into season 4 now, which is crazy, but so many different people, and I've had multiple people talk about the same topic, which
Mm,
is fine, but it's been so interesting to see so many different approaches to those topics to help you, because again, we're all individuals, we have different personalities, and things change, and sometimes in one season one approach is the right thing for us, it's a game changer, but then there's other seasons that are maybe more challenging where we need to up it up a little bit, and we need something different. So I love that. And like you've seen, even with just incorporating the world of yoga, there's a lot of different things that you can do, a lot of different levels to
yes.
meet you with where you're at in your season of life as a caregiver or business owner, and with your health in general. That, okay, if you're starting from scratch where you've been through, like, honestly, for me, I am 5 years postpartum after a
Mm,
cesarean, and since then I've lost both my parents, and I've had my IBS diagnosis. So I've had some other hard hits, impact my life in terms mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, but then, just physically with another chronic illness. So, my body's been put through a lot. And so obviously I'm really starting with no core
mm.
and from the ground zero, but that's okay. But again, it's about consistency. So 15-minute walks, some breath work. That's what I'm taking away from this to get me started. That's what works for me, and stretches, those simple stretches. So But I want you thinking about, guys, too, like where are you at, and how can you get started, and what makes sense for the season you're in. So maybe it's not 15-minute walks, but maybe just really being intentional with getting connected with your mind and your soul and your
Mm,
body just by breathing and pausing, and just allowing yourself to just pause and stop for a minute. I know there's only so many hours in the day, and you're trying to get through that never-ending to-do list, but part of being able to get through that never ending to-do list is being able to take care of yourself and prioritizing taking
yeah.
care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, guys, again, it all starts with you. You will not be getting good, any good to yourself. You'll be getting to your spouse or partner, your kids, your loved one you're caring for, and your clientele if you're a business owner like I am.
And deciding you are important enough. I feel like this piece about I don't have enough time, because I hear that too, right? I can't make it to class, Danae. I don't have enough time. And it's a hard truth that I have had to swallow my own self when I have said, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. We make the time for the things that are important. So choose yourself as important, and then the time will present itself. The 3 minutes of taking some deep breaths and the great big sighs in the bathroom with the door locked if you need to, like we said earlier. And
Yes,
that's totally legit,
absolutely.
you guys. That's totally legit. Or
Absolutely.
taking the 5 minute walk after dinner. The cool thing about when you start is even when you start with just a few minutes, your body, mind, and spirit, as you said, your soul gets hungry for more. And then time appears because we've all got the same amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Priorities will shift and you'll
Mm-hmm.
start to put yourself further at the top of the list as the caregiver, as the mama bear, as the entrepreneur. You have to take care of number one first. That's a hard thing. I am still working on learning every day. That ends in Y. That's something my dad likes to say.
Right. Yeah.
But it makes
Well,
a big difference.
right. Well, another thing that just popped in my mind is that investing in yourself
Mm,
financially. Okay. Like
yes.
I mean, we've obviously been trying to come up with some ideas because we know as caregivers, we're on a budget, even as business owners, right? Just starting out. So we're on a budget, and I want to be sensitive and respectful of that. But maybe you do need to get out of the house. So maybe a gym membership would be better for you because there's a trainer there, or they have
Mhm.
another type of low impact cardio other than just dancing or yoga or walking that appeals to you, that you need, because for that consistency and accountability you want to be around a group of people doing it in tandem that will hold you accountable, but it's also, and they're also doing a specific type of workout that you like better and will help you be more consistent. Do it. Okay. Self-care does not always mean not spending money on yourself. Okay.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
okay to spend money on yourself. So I know for me, and I've been so thankful my husband's so supportive of it, is to deal with my IBS and to
Mm,
get back on track with that, is we started investing in Plexus products so I could take Plexus. And it's not a cure, but it's something that it's been nice to find something that's natural. I mean, I'm still on all my IBS meds, but the fact that I've been able to start slowly incorporating things I was
mm,
intolerant of food wise once in a while. I mean, I still have attacks and trouble because my body's still healing, but being able to do that once in a while, that's a win. And
mm.
the fact that it's and it and the fact that I found something that's not um full of ingredients that I'm sensitive to too, and messes with other medicines I take, like for my thyroid and my IBS, has been wonderful. So maybe it isn't the gym membership. Maybe it's investing in. We see it all the time. Those if you're struggling with eating and meal planning, maybe those kits that we see from Home Shelf. Gosh, there's so many. I know there's so many.
Yes.
I can't think of them. But those where you get like X amount of meals, pre-portioned, healthy meals that also have that you can get per your diet things, like they're gluten free or plant based, whatever you need to help you with your energy and to help you with your health. Do it. And if that and also the time piece. The idea with those is that I've never tried them, but the idea is that it's supposed to help you with the time. You're not having to cut and prep. It's all done for you, and then all you got to do is just put it together in under 20 minutes or less. So maybe that might be something you need to invest in or try. And if it doesn't work, hey, that's okay. You will know that wasn't the right fit for me. But it was at least but I'm glad I at least tried something and started to initiate trying to figure out a way for me to get better on my grocery planning and my meal planning. It's all about just starting. Okay. It's all
Yes.
about just starting.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, Danae, our time is winding down, but I did want to take a minute to ask a question for you. And this question, I've had so much fun with my guests because I've had some really interesting, amazing answers. So, the question is, what is something that we have talked about either in our conversation, or I've also trickled this to something like in your journey that has just really resonated and stuck with you?
Ooh. Well, we haven't touched on it, but this is something that resonates with me, and I'm glad I have a chance to offer it, is just simply gratitude. So we have this holiday one day a year, Thanksgiving, right? But truly, every day, there's an opportunity to give thanks, to be mindful of all the blessings that we have in our lives. My dad often says, it's a good day if he woke up. It's an even better day if he gets outside, right, of the house, even if it's to an appointment. And it's the best day if he sees a pretty girl. He likes to make people laugh, right? And that's true, right? So whether it's a very formal practice that you write down in a journal every day, maybe once you first wake up or before you retire for bed, or you just sort of sit with yourself for a moment and just reflect on, wow, there is so much to be grateful for. And even when it's hard, think about the weather outside. How's the weather? Is it sunny and warm? Is it a cold day, but you like the cold weather, right? Or maybe you had a favorite beverage, or you got to see someone in the grocery store, a friend that you haven't, encountered for a while. There's always one thing to be grateful for. So that would be the takeaway that I'd love to offer, to just
I
really
love
commit to
that.
that.
Yeah. And here's an idea for the month of May, again, like going off what the lady on the Christian radio station said this morning. For the month of May, 15 minutes. Take 15 minutes maybe at the beginning or end of your day and write out those things you're grateful for, those blessings. Those do call it gratitude journaling or whatever you want to call
Yes.
it. Just write out
Yes.
those write out those blessings. I'm thankful for that my kids are healthy. I'm thankful that we have a roof over our head. I'm thankful
Mhm.
that the car works. I'm thankful that we have less debt. I'm thankful that we got to enjoy a walk outside because it wasn't windy and blowing and we weren't sneezing our heads off, things like that. So,
Yes.
all the little things, guys, they do add up. They are important and you're important. I hope that you know that you are always important. Okay. You're important to your loved ones. You're important to yourself. You're important to, those that you serve if you're in a service-based business like I am. And those of you listening, you're important to me because I am here to help you as your coach. And I want to see you succeed in a way where you don't tap out and burn out, because that's the last thing I want for you. I want you to thrive and I want you to find ways to simplify your caregiving and your business and your wellness journey. So, Danae, where can we find more of you if people are interested? If people have listened to this episode and they're like, "Dang, I want to get to know more about Danae," because you still teach virtual yoga classes? Do you not, or do you not do that anymore?
Well, I don't teach virtual yoga classes. I do meet people privately
Mhm.
on FaceTime, sometimes Zoom, but some
Okay.
folks fancy FaceTime more so than Zoom lately. But the best way to connect with me is on Instagram. My whole name, Danae Robinett, at Danae Robinett. That's my website too, DanaeRobinett.com. And I write a weekly email newsletter. I call it the Wednesday LUV Love Note. I've been writing email newsletters since 2012, and I love always finding a little nugget, something important to share with my audience. So if you want to get on that email list, you can always unsubscribe at the bottom. I'll share that with Melissa so she can put it in the notes.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Links to Danae's Instagram, her website, and now her email list to subscribe to her email newsletter Can't talk, y'all. Will be included in the description below, wherever you're watching this, on my blog, on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple. All the good stuff will be down below. So, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe at anywhere of those places, so you will be notified when another episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast drops, and get updates about what's coming. I got good stuff coming in 2024. I'm very excited. So, Danae, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. It's been a treat to have you on. I wish you well, and wish your father well, and your husband. And I thank you so much for your time, because I know as caregivers, well, yeah, we have so many hours in the day, and I know our time is limited, but I do appreciate your willingness to come on and share your story.
A true delight to be with you, Melissa. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, this is Melissa Miller, your caregiver and business coach and host of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast, signing off. I will see you in the next episode. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.